The world of Fallout is not for the faint of heart. The nuclear holocaust has decimated the world, and even hundreds of years after detonations, society hasn't recovered. The Wasteland is plagued with horrifying creatures as a result of years of radiation exposure. These abominations are just one of the many dangers out in the Wasteland. However, it could be argued that the deadliest thing in the Wasteland aren't the creatures, but man himself. Today, we're looking at the most evil Fallout characters. But first, do you know what's not evil? Liking and subscribing. I post videos just like this once or twice a week, so be sure not to miss any. With that out of the way, on to the video. Richard Moreau was born before the Great War, and he was lucky enough to find shelter in one of Vault-Tech's many vaults. His luck ran out at some point though, and he was suspected of the murder of a fellow vault dweller. Whether or not he did it, we may never know, but regardless, he found himself banished from Vault 8. After wandering the Wasteland, Richard eventually found himself in the settlement known as the Hub. He eventually made his home here, even becoming the town doctor. He was well respected and even popular in the community. One of Richard's best friends was Harold, a former vault dweller turned caravan master. The trade routes had been overrun by countless mutated creatures, making them too dangerous to use. This brought most caravans, including Harold's, to a screeching halt. One day, Harold approached his friend with a proposition. He was putting together an expedition to find the source of these creatures, and he wanted Richard to go and act as their doctor. Not wanting to let his friend down, Richard accepted, and soon they began their journey. They eventually found the source of these monsters deep in the Mariposa military base. While deep inside the base, Richard was struck by a mechanical crane and he fell into a vat of mysterious green slime. Unable to move due to his injuries, he floated in this vat for what seemed like days, trying his best not to drown. When he finally composed enough strength to pull himself out, he crawled to the base control room and waited. He knew his death was inevitable, so he decided to wait it out. The pain he was in was incomprehensible. Not only that, but he was all alone. His friends either died or left him to die. Then, after what seemed like hours, the pain stopped. He felt his body undergoing extreme changes he's never felt before. His skin bubbled, tendrils shot out of his body, his eyes sunk into the back of his head. By the time these changes were done, Richard looked like this. However, he wasn't just affected physically. He soon found out that his mental capacity had been greatly increased. He was able to solve the most complex philosophical questions with ease. Richard began to experiment on the rats and other creatures he could find in the base, dipping them into the liquid and seeing what would happen. As he expected, these creatures became both smarter and stronger. He also continued to experiment on himself by injecting the liquid into his body. He soon found out that he could link his nervous system to computers, gaining the knowledge from them and being able to control them. From this, he learned that the liquid was known as FEV, or the Forced Evolutionary Virus. Richard began to study FEV, and he devoted his life to harnessing it. Over the years, wanderers would make their way to the base, only to be captured and experimented on by Richard. These experiments are what we know today as super mutants. Richard would send his soldiers out in the Wasteland to capture innocent settlers, only to bring them back and mutate them. After years of doing this, he grew quite the sizable army. I think what makes Richard, or the Master as he was more known, so interesting were his intentions. His actions weren't malicious in nature, he truly wanted to unify the world and bring peace to the Wasteland. What truly was evil, though, is what he's willing to do to reach his goals. Thousands of people have been killed due to Richard's actions, both directly and indirectly. He didn't give these people a choice. Despite his intentions, Richard was truly evil. In this next segment, the topic of sexual assault is brought up. If that's something you don't want to hear about, click this timestamp here. The Mojave Wasteland is home to all walks of people. One of these people you can come across is the Fiend Cook. Most of us will first hear about Cook at Camp McCarran during the Quest 3-card bounty. He's one of 3 fiends we're told to kill. However, before you leave the camp, you can ask around for some information on your targets. Doing this, you can soon find out just one of the atrocious things he's done. While out on patrol one night, 10 of Spades and Corporal Betsy were ambushed by Cook and his men. He began to kick Spades in the head over and over again until he was unconscious. After he was no longer a threat, Cook then moved to Betsy. He assaulted her, left her for dead. Another one of Cook victims is Pretty Sarah in Westside. After assaulting her, Cook used his signature flamethrower to set her ablaze. Somehow Sarah survived, but her body is full of scars, a reminder of what that monster did. If you kill Cook and inform Sarah and Betsy, they'll both give you a reward and a thank you. Cook might just be the most disgusting and pure evil character in New Vegas. While the Master may have had a bigger impact on the Wasteland, Cook's crimes were far more personal and sinister. Travelers making their way through the capital Wasteland always tell of the same strange occurrence. Out in the middle of nowhere seemingly, they reported seeing a huge tower, much like the ones they would see on pre-war advertisements. This is Tenpenny Tower, a private community ran by the eccentric Alistair Tenpenny. When the lone wanderer first makes their way to the tower, it's easy to be charmed by Mr. Tenpenny. Compared to the savage raiders of the Wasteland, Tenpenny is more reminiscent of pre-war America. However, you soon learn his true nature. It's no doubt that we're all familiar with the undetonated bomb in the middle of Megaton. Well, Mr. Tenpenny is too. In Moriarty's saloon, you'll find Mr. Burke, Tenpenny's right-hand man. This is where Tenpenny's sinister plan is revealed. He wants the lone wanderer to detonate the bomb, destroying the city and killing all the residents. But why would he want to do this? Well, he has a reason. In Tenpenny's suite, he has a large balcony that overlooks the wasteland. He can see for miles. The man loves his view, except for one little thing. Alistair thinks Megaton is a blight on the landscape, so he wants it gone. Yes, you heard that right. He wants to nuke a town because he doesn't want to have to look at it. A town full of innocent men, women, and children. This is so comically evil that you almost have to laugh, but he is truly a despicable person. However, whether that bomb goes off is up to you, for better or for worse. If you spend any time around the slums and the chem junkies, you're no doubt familiar with Jet. This addictive chem can be found all across the country, but where did it originate from? In Fallout 2, we meet Myron, a teenage boy employed by the Mordino family claiming to be the inventor of Jet. Now whether or not he actually invented Jet is debated amongst fans of the series, but Myron is at least responsible for its resurgence and mass production. Jet is extremely addictive and dangerous. It's responsible for the downfall of so many people. This alone could make him one of the worst people in the series, but there's more. Upon first meeting Myron, if the player character is a female, he will offer you a spiked drink. After drinking it, your character will pass out, and when you wake up, your player's sex count would have gone up by 1. I don't think I have to explain what this implies. Myron is such an evil character that if you do kill him, you don't get the child killer perk. In fact, you actually gain karma. Those were just a few of the evil and depraved people in this series. While researching, I found a lot more of them, so if you like this video, let me know if you want part 2. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, it helps me out a lot. As I'm recording this now, we just hit 500 subscribers, and that's amazing. And yes, I do have something big planned for 1,000. I think that's all for me. Thanks for watching, have a good day.